Most people look at a woman who chooses to be single and see a mystery to be solved. They ask, what went wrong? But for Elena, the real mystery wasn't why she left, it was why she stayed for so long. Meet Elena and Thomas. They were the success story. Thomas was a high-level marketing executive, ambitious, charming, and a man who believed that a good marriage was like a well-oiled machine. Elena was a senior graphic designer, creative, soulful, and someone who felt everything deeply. To the world, their life was the blueprint. They had the suburban house, the twice-yearly vacations, and the Friday night dinner reservations. But inside those four walls, Elena was slowly becoming a shadow. She lived in what psychologists call the mental load. It wasn't that Thomas was bad. He didn't yell, he didn't cheat, but he was a passenger. Thomas helped out with the dishes only when asked. He babysat his own children only when Elena had a deadline. Elena was the CEO, the administrator, the emotional anchor, and the maid. I'm not a wife. I'm a project manager for a life I'm too tired to enjoy. Thomas would often tell her how lucky she was.
Honey, you're overthinking it. We have everything. Why are you always so heavy?
Thomas loved the idea of Elena. He loved the way she looked at his company parties. He loved the way she kept the house. But he had no idea who she was when the guests left. He didn't realize that every time he said, "Just tell me what to do," he was adding another brick to a wall that was slowly suffocating her. The first crack in the blueprint appeared on Elena's 40th birthday. Thomas had planned a surprise. He invited 40 of his business associates to their house for a catered dinner. Thomas made a toast. He talked about how she was the wind beneath his wings. Everyone clapped, but as Elena looked around her own home, she realized something terrifying. She didn't recognize a single person in the room. Her own birthday had been turned into a networking event for a life she didn't choose. That night, after the guests left, the silence was deafening. Elena looked at the piles of trash and the empty glasses. She didn't feel loved, she felt used.
Great night, right? Everyone was so impressed.
Who was that for, Thomas? Because it wasn't for me. For the next few months, Elena started an experiment, a quiet, dangerous experiment. She stopped asking. She stopped asking him to pick up his socks. She stopped asking him what he wanted for dinner. She stopped reminding him of his mother's birthday. But then, the house began to unravel. Thomas didn't step up. He got frustrated.
Elena, what's going on? The house is a mess. You're being difficult.
What happened next was the revelation that Thomas didn't want a partner, he wanted an architect who didn't charge a fee. Elena began to spend more time alone. She went to cafes, she started painting again in a small studio she rented in secret. She was test driving a life without the weight, and for the first time in 15 years, she felt light. But Thomas sensed the distance. He didn't ask what was wrong, he tried to fix it with a gift. He bought her a new SUV, a family car with more seats, more features, more things for her to manage.
This'll make your life easier, honey. Now you can get the kids to soccer and do the shopping without any stress.
To Thomas, it was a $70,000 I love you. To Elena, it was a set of velvet handcuffs. She realized that Thomas's version of better was just a more expensive version of her being his assistant. She began to look at the single women in her life, not the ones looking for a man, but the ones who had stopped looking. She saw their peace, she saw their clean counters, she saw their time that belonged entirely to them. She began to pack, not a suitcase for a trip, but a life for a departure. The confrontation happened on a Sunday morning, the perfect time for a success story family.
You're leaving? Over what? I don't hit you, I don't drink, I provide everything. Do you have any idea how many women would kill for this life?
That's the problem, Thomas. I've been killing myself for this life. I've spent 15 years making sure your life was perfect while mine disappeared.
This is a midlife crisis. You're being selfish. You're going to be alone. Do you know how hard it is for a woman your age out there?
Thomas, I've been alone for 15 years. I was just doing it while I was standing right next to you. I'd rather be alone by choice than alone by neglect. Thomas reached out to grab her arm, not to hurt her, but to pull her back into the blueprint. Elena stepped back. It wasn't an act of anger, it was an act of divorce. I don't hate you, Thomas. I just finally love myself more than I love the comfort you provide. Elena moved into a small apartment in the city. It didn't have the white couches or the marble counters. It had a small bed, a big easel, and a silence that felt like a song. The single life wasn't a tragedy, it was a reclamation. She didn't hate men, she just realized that she didn't need one to be whole. Thomas tried to replace her within 6 months. He found another woman who was willing to manage the machine. But Elena found herself. She realized that for some women, single life isn't about a lack of options, it's about the presence of peace. She chose the difficult freedom over the comfortable cage, and she never looked back. We are taught that being single is a waiting room for marriage, but for many women, marriage was the waiting room, waiting for a partner who never showed up, waiting for a break that never came. Single life isn't a failure to find love, it's often a success in finding self-respect. If a relationship requires you to disappear to keep it alive, it's not a partnership, it's a hostage situation. Elena gave up a perfect life to find her own peace. Do you think she was being selfish, or was she finally being honest? What would you do if you realized you were the only one rowing the boat? Let me know in the comments below.